there was a knowledge of UFOs and visitation from other planets, and yet human consciousness would have been terrified. Hey everybody, my name's Allison Holly, and I am a channel, and I'm really here to channel information from higher frequencies to assist us all in this awakening time. What I tuned into today that I'm about to share with you is what is going to be happening over the next several years. In terms of the earth processes, we're currently witnessing a large amount of what we would call destruction, a lot of shifting, a lot of surprising revelations coming about. And my purpose in going into this channeling was to really dive deep into what is happening and give some comfort around knowing what's happening on multiple layers of reality, and also assisting in what is our purpose as people who are also awakened. Um, what is our purpose in all of this shifting landscape? Some really, really powerful revelations came through in this channeling, and I'm very excited to share it with you. I encourage you to watch all the way to the end because some of the revelations that came through at the end are really about those of us who are here to embody these higher frequencies and what do we do in the midst of all of this shifting. So thank you for being here. And if you appreciate what's brought through, please like and subscribe and leave a comment below with what resonated. Thank you so much. People are going to stop being hurt. So what I'm seeing is there's been a lot going on underground, and it's actually been amplifying really bad things happening to people, but in secret. And what's happening now is the balancing of the scales, justice. So it's not that more is happening, it's that we're seeing it's being uncovered. It's all being uncovered. And it's going to take, what I'm hearing is 10 more years, actually, which in human form, it feels like a lot, feels like a long time. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a short experience. It's going to take about 10 more years for so many things that are currently breaking down and dissolving to be uncovered, to have justice. And that means that the control agenda is still very much in belief that they are in control, that their plan is still working. These people are following their soul calling. So the people who are doing things that look horrendous, that look awful, that we don't like, it's still them following their soul calling. Unconsciously, they incarnated to they also incarnated for the breakdown of all of these systems. They just incarnated on the side of the ones perpetrating, doing the being part of the control agenda and doing, these secretive things. And a certain level of unconsciousness, as we know, it has to be present for that to occur. I'm a little nervous to look at this, but I'd like to look at specifically what is happening in terms of governmental structures and the breakdown with those. How will that potentially go? At least if we look at the highest timeline, how will that potentially go? What I see is like the general population learning self-governing. And this is on a frequency level, meaning right now everybody's making that transition from othering their power to understanding that each individual is empowered and and is meant to um, navigate their world. Now, that's uncomfortable for a lot of people because there are there's a bit of laziness, to be honest, where it's like, well, other people will just kind of take care of this, and then I don't have to worry about it. Um, but so that is going to shift, and it is slowly shifting right now to people. Right now, it's just the awareness that's happening, people coming into the awareness of their power. Like, "Oh, I am the one creating. I'm the one creating." And that's part of the awakening. And so, the way that the scales balance as the as the governmental structures really kind of implode and explode, is people start to slowly feel safe within themselves, not needing this external belief system, or it's not even a structure, it's like an ideology of having something that rules over others. So that's how that gets balanced, and that's how that's becoming balanced right now. The reason that it's going to get quote unquote bad within that layer of reality, that realm, is because people are reluctant to receive their own power back. And so there will be a period of time where there it almost seems like the control is amplified against people because it's to wake us up. It's to wake us up to, if you want to give your power away, you can, and this is what it's going to look like, because these people who want to take that power, although that can never really happen, it's all a game, it's all a mirage. But the people who would be willing to take that power, their belief system is that other people are not capable, and so control needs to happen. So there will be sort of, it's almost like on the mental realm, people will be having these aha moments like, wait, and waking up, because there will be this sort of amplification of these control structures attempting control and really shutting things down. So I'm seeing more shutdown, um, more control over the money structures, because that's the root of safety for a lot of people. Um, and again, these realms of control only exist for the people who are giving their power away. So even though this will be sort of like a collective experience, those of us who are comfortable and aware that power resides within, and becoming more and more aware daily, will not experience this reality. It will be different realities for everybody. It will be It's based on attachment, of course. We don't we don't have the attachment to the belief, and therefore the fear doesn't exist, and therefore the experience is very different. Very different. I'm seeing something to do with banks. What I'm hearing is, and I am not, this isn't really my realm of awareness in general, but what I'm hearing is they have been going bankrupt for a while, meaning they're not, something's actually been um, depleting for a while. The something about the structure is, even though it seems like all these banks are making a lot of money, it's really like hanging on a thread, and they've actually been going into debt for years. So I don't know how that works. But there's going to be like a grab, because it is disappearing. So the way that that works on multiple layers of reality, again, the people who are involved in that plane of reality, who other their power, are going to experience this, even though we all witness it at some level, or actually some people don't even witness it because they are that disengaged from these systems of othering power. Um, what I'm seeing is I'm actually hearing interest rates are going to uh, shift in a detrimental way. So there's going to be a real shift, like interest rates becoming unmanageable to the general population. And the reason that this is all occurring is uh, it's sort of like a vacuum. It's sort of like you can't go into debt for so long before it just kind of shifts like that. Law of polarity and balance is shifting this. So now I'm my attention's being drawn to earth changes. Oh, I want to complete that transmission. The people who are not engaged with this, it really won't be happening to us, to them, to these people who are not othering their power so consistently. Even the people who are using the systems of the bank, because we are operating in this world, it will not have a detrimental effect. It'll sort of be like um, an absolute, like an easy flow switch. It'll just be, oh, well, this isn't working. Well, this is already working. Um, and I'm not saying that in a literal way, like it won't go from banks to, Bitcoin or something like that. It's not going to be a switch like that. But it can be for some people. But, hearing this, don't take it too literally because it will be an easy switch no matter how it shows up. It will be an easeful shift. Okay, going into earth changes. There's a lot showing up as I look at all of these. I'm just looking at like mask after mask after mask dropping in the political realm. A lot of people just being, it's the emperor's new clothes. It's just a lot of this being exposed. It's just going to be happening, happening, happening. And yet there are still going to be there. So there's going to be the control agendas really exerting um, a lot more in the midst of all of this. Disclosure that we've always known about UFOs visiting the planet. That actually, from the formation of our nation, from the formation of the US, I mean, that goes back a long way. So this was actually part of, uh, I'm hearing Freemasons. So there was, it wasn't necessarily negative intention when the nation was formed, when the US was formed, there was a positive intention, um, more so because there was a knowledge of UFOs and visitation from other planets, and yet human consciousness would have been terrified at that time. So the government kept it was sort of a pact to keep it secret. That turned nefarious. That turned into control agenda. It didn't start that way, but it was something that was held sacred. And there was a belief the general population can't handle this. We've got to keep this understanding to ourselves. And it was a pact. They made a pact. I see it right now. I see them making that sacred oath, and how that turned into something. Honestly, the wording is demonic. It turned into control. So there, more of that's going to be coming out, and people are going to be seeing through the lies. So the the idea that um there's really been like a push to make it look like UFOs are scary, that our star family is to be feared, warlike, all of that. It's not true. And people are going to be seeing through that. In fact, wow, this is kind of going deep, but people who have had negative experiences, what they would call negative experiences with ET contact and things like that, there was an overlay from the beings who desire control on this planet to make it look negative. In fact, some of those were mirages conducted by the government. That's honestly freaky to look at. There is a necessary arrangement within those realms that to be able to be seen on other planets and visit in this way, you're already of the realms of love. And so when this disclosure starts coming up, there's also going to be the governmental agenda to make them look evil. That's going to be showing up as well. Kind of makes my heart race to look at this stuff. I'd like to look now at earth changes. And then what I'd like to do is go into the higher realms of what these experiences will be like from a higher perspective, even being embodied as a human, from those of us who are already in the going through the awakening process of recognizing that the power lies within, that we are the creators. So I'm going to look at the earth changes, and then I'll go into the higher frequency perspective of all of this. Yeah, definitely water. And then I see volcanoes. So there's just a general rumbling. And if we compare this to the layering that exists within the different dimensional spaces, so third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, the transmutation is occurring deeply, deeply within that fourth dimensional space, which if we were to look at the layers of the earth, it's going to sort of be that layer just below the surface that's creating a lot of shifting, a lot of moving and changing. There's like a rumbling. And immediately, I love this. I'm already seeing it from a higher perspective. It's joy. It's just celebration. The way that it looks from humans is, oh, we've destroyed the planet. So I do want to look at that, what's been happening there. But from the fifth dimensional perspective, it's joy. It's like the earth is just celebrating. And I've seen this before. The earth is celebrating and the sun is sending out these massive rays, just dancing. It's just this beautiful dance. It's like an alleluia moment. The earth is dancing and the sun is sending these rays. It's almost the masculine feminine, but on a higher frequency. So, the sun being that masculine presence, sending out the rays, and the earth receiving it and just dancing and dancing. It's so good in my body to feel it. Now, some of this is being controlled by the government. So where we see some weather patterning, not all, but some of the weather patterning, the secret control agenda, the beings who are navigating that, it's really a lot of the billionaires in the world that make up the control agenda. Makes me scared to say that. These beings have harnessed the ability to manipulate some of the weather, but not all. Like, not even close to all. Like, not at all. It's like a little kid playing with a, remote control airplane. And now to humans who aren't aware that this is going on, it looks like, wow, that's actually terrifying that they can control to that level. It is minuscule. It's minuscule. The earth is a being. And this earth being, I mean, we can't even say mastery because it's far beyond mastery. It's the level of presence consciousness that it takes to be a planet is so It's so high. And so right now the earth is just dancing. It's just dancing. And these attempts at control are, I mean, because they're inorganic, organic trumps inorganic. Organic matter has all of the light frequencies within it. Inorganic is attempting to be that, and it can't be, because creating inorganic matter is us as slivers of God playing God, and we're just not at the level to create something like the weather or an entire planet. We're not there. It requires such huge amounts of light and love. We are not, it's like not even a question. It's, and so these are just little games, and they feel very real to the human experience. To those of us who are within this layer of the multidimensional experience, it does feel very real, and it does feel scary. And this is exactly why I wanted to go in and look at this. So again, my attention's being brought to volcanoes. Earth changes, shifts in the earth plates that are realigning and reestablishing a new polarity. And what is that? That's interesting, because the poles are slowly shifting. It feels like 100 years, although time is very malleable. But what that actually does is, and again, I'm not like science-based, but there's some sort of magnetic pull that is essential to shift as the earth, really it feels like the earth travels into a higher frequency. It's like the earth is in a wormhole, is what it looks like. And so that's really what's causing all of these earth changes. It's part of this dance of shifting polarities. This is wild. In a sense, the people and even the collective of people who are creating damage on the planet, it's actually simply speeding up the process that was already occurring. And it's not speeding it up, it was all mapped out. It's sort of like every road leads to Rome. If we decided to do it this way, the poles still would have shifted because it's part of the ascension process of the planet. So it's not wrong, but we can see one layer of what's causing it, and that is, human created quote unquote damage. And I put quotes on it because nothing is actually wrong when viewed from a higher perspective. Nothing is wrong. Everything, there couldn't be a way to go outside of the plan, because the plan is of a higher frequency. It doesn't exist in polarity, it exists in perfection, which is ultimate harmony. So revisiting this concept of money now from the higher perspective, and sort of explaining that eventually money disappears, but there's I'm seeing two different ways that looks depending on where our viewpoint is. One is the control agenda, where money disappears and we're being given this stipend and controlled by that. That's actually not going to happen, but it's where the control agenda is aiming. That it's not going to happen, but that is the aim, to create two separate groups of humans, one who is in power and one who is completely not, one who is completely controlled. The reason that this is the aim for that group of the control agenda is because of fear. The human population being so big, they believe that in order to continue to exist, it's nepotism. Their families need to exist. Their families need to thrive. We need to protect just this small group of people and make it incredibly difficult and subjugate this other majority group of people. That really is the agenda, and it also will not be happening. What will be happening is people are waking up. I just I just heard this like crescendo of beautiful music. People are waking up. And as we awaken, we become empowered with our creator abilities. And the creator abilities tell us that money is simply this beautiful friend, first of all, this joyful companion to the creative process within these realms. It is very joyful. And the transition is that each of us recognize the fullness of abundance. That abundance has to do with, yes, money, right? Because that's part of the transactionary process, but it's not about money. Money is one aspect of the fullness of abundance. When we bring our consciousness to that layer of abundance, that's really fifth dimensional perspective, and of course beyond, right? But our consciousness is within that fifth dimensional perspective. And we witness that abundance is actually so accessible and easy, and that this imprisonment has always been our own illusion, our own belief in the illusion. So more and more and more people are going to tap into that beyond the physical level of abundance. And I will say, to remove judgment on this perception of the externalization of that. Oh, man, this is like really, there's like a fire running through me right now. There is so much judgment in the spiritual community. Whew, because it's self-judgment, because this awareness is starting to come up that, oh, actually abundance is very easy and we can create whatever we want. There's a lot of judgment that's externalized onto others that, oh, this person has this amount of abundance and we're going to judge it as good or bad, whether they're poor or rich or anywhere in between. People have a lot of externalization of those judgments. Anytime there's an externalization of any judgment, it is coming from a judgment of the self. So just to put that out there, because people are being judged for not having monetary abundance. And yet the secret story is that they have abundance in so many ways that people couldn't even imagine, and that the monetary abundance will shortly come. And there are people who judge people who have a lot of abundance, who have a lot of wealth, positive or negative, when their abundance is solely in that location of the fullness of abundance. We can't see it unless we're not using our eyes. We can't see it with our eyes where somebody is with their abundance process. So it's this guidance to not judge at all. I've heard beautiful spiritual teachers full of judgment on this topic, and that's ridiculous. So, whew, that was a fire. The reality is that we are all learning our inherent abundance, and this includes money, and this includes really what that abundance is being limitless. It's being able to create from these higher frequencies, knowing that the boundaries are all illusions. They're all illusions that we ourselves have created, and we are disassembling them in so many ways, so many ways. So what will really happen, to circle back to, well, the control agenda has this aim, but it is not working. It will not work. So many will awaken that no amount of attempted control will be able to stifle abundance. When we tap into the codes of abundance in all ways, we will be able to witness that anything that we need will be supplied to us, whether it's through money or through a person or through an experience or through objects, any of it. And it will be, this is the Garden of Eden. This is the templates of the Garden of Eden. We will cue into everything is always available and and rich. Everything is rich. So there will be, it's like trying to play a game with the tools of the third and fourth dimension against someone who is playing the game from the fifth dimension. It's like, well, that's such a silly tool because I witness that abundance is in all things, and I am always cared for. I'm always satiated. I am always receiving exponentially abundant levels of anything that I desire. And so that's the transition. It becomes silly. The attempt at control becomes, it just kind of looks silly. It doesn't hit us here or there. The difficulty is in the coming months really going to be people witnessing those that they love suffering. This is the difficulty. And being involved in suffering is a part of the liberation process, because when we are suffering, there is an element of believing that our infinite nature can be somehow given to another, that the power that we hold within is somehow the responsibility of another. And there are very intense levels of suffering happening that seem and truly are very real. There are people who are very innocent on the earth level who are going through awful, awful things and who are suffering, not because they're somehow not awake enough to not suffer, but because they, on a soul level, incarnated to send the signal out. This is an area of pain that the collective needs to pay attention to. I am suffering. I am innocent. This is, I'm getting full body chills. I am calling out to the world, which is, we are one. If there is one area that's suffering from a level of deep innocence, they incarnated to call out to the rest of the world and say, hey, this is not okay. And we will be seeing a lot of people calling out in that way, not because there's more going wrong now than there was before. That's not true. We are coming to a place in consciousness where that level of wrongness we can no longer be blind to, because we are one. And so any part of the one suffering is suffering with the all. So this is how we understand from this higher perspective why it seems that there is so much suffering going on, because there are beings who are indeed on the human level completely innocent, who incarnated to shine and say, this is a part that needs balancing within the overall structure of humanity. And that is very valid. And we can listen by bringing balance within ourselves. And within ourselves, this balance enacts balance within the community. It will create new structures within the world at large. And that being said, we are going to witness a lot of people who are suffering simply because it's all raising to the surface, because we're coming into oneness consciousness. Again, it's not because more suffering is happening than ever has before, because that's not true. It's because we're at a place vibrationally, collectively, where we can't ignore it, where it's coming to the forefront, because that realm is totally collapsing on itself, the realm of othering, the realm of disempowerment, of taking from another in this belief that it will make one more powerful than the other, and giving to another in the belief that it will save us, makes us feel safe. Oh, you take my power. I don't want to be a creator. That sort of thing. All of that, the veil is lifting from that realm of reality. And now we see it very, very clearly and strongly. It's like, here it is, here it is, here it is, because it is uncomfortable now. That's why we're seeing it, because we're no longer comfortable with that level of separation. Bring as much light through your unique perspective. Shine with joy, with love, with abundance. Bring that to the world. That is one of the highest expressions of service to the all, to each other, which is I am you and you are me. Shine fully and let yourselves ask for help, because asking for help is the knowing that we are multiple aspects of the all that is God. And if there's something that I, from this perspective, am not able to see, am not able to do, feels limited, asking for help without fully giving that power to another, asking for help is sacred. Giving power away, believing that there's something wrong with the individual, is different than asking for help. And so asking for help is part of moving into oneness consciousness. It is different than disempowerment. Asking for help is love. It's a love exchange. It is saying, I see your perspective. You are me and I am you. And I would really love to be able to receive in this way. It's self-love. And so that's why this is coming up here at the end of this transmission. Empowerment, personal empowerment, is love. Asking for help is also love. Believing that somebody else is more powerful than you is a false belief, but believing that somebody has a frequency that you can see, that you desire to receive from, learn from, whatever the receiving is, that's divine exchange. Asking for help is not disempowering inherently. In fact, when done from a place of self-love, asking for help is a divine exchange. And it is vitally important as we move forward, because we are coming into the understanding that we're one, which means that no man is an island. We're not meant to do it ourselves. We're actually really not. We're built with corresponding templates, meaning each person shining their divine light is one voice in the full chorus. And we can assist each other in this way through the divine exchange of love. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It feels like there's endless things that I could look at for what's going to be happening on the human plane. And yet that feels sufficient for now as an overview of these structures falling apart before our eyes, things coming up to the surface to be exposed and mended, and some of it just completely exits the field because it cannot hold the higher vibration that we're collectively in and moving further in within on a conscious level. And the bringing in of the new, the bringing in of these divine new earth experiences. Many people are working with the gridding of the planet to create and to activate and amplify the light structure that is replacing the denser structures that we know that we're witnessing falling apart. Many people are very consciously activating and further bringing consciousness to and holding the field of these light structures. And so the transition will be made easy. And sending recognition and appreciation to these beings who are working at this level, activating and establishing the light grid that's always been here. And now we're moving into consciously, and it is embodying even more light. Gratitude and acknowledgement to all of us who are doing this in our own ways. Activating this light structure could be as simple as being the fullness of who you are and allowing the light to come through you. Or it could be very active, going to different places, working with beings who are not human or not embodied or here to assist, and awakening the field at that level. It's many different things, and it's happening. It's happening with the vast majority of people on the planet. It's really beautiful to witness. One thing I will say before I close this out is to reiterate that many starships and interdimensional beings will be making more of an appearance, being more present in a way that we can witness. So they're very present always. And in fact, many of us are embodied as humans. So, as my friend says, we've got the boots on the ground and we've got the systems in multi-dimensional spaces visiting. And this is an activation, this is a reminder. Many of you listening to this are meant to work with those beings, those cosmic beings, your family, your soul remembers. And this is validation that this is actually happening. Many who are working on these frequencies, validation at this point is important. This is validation that you are doing that, and to continue to move within the heart space, to awaken the heart space for this sacred work of connection in all the ways that you're currently doing it, and to allow it to shift and amplify. The ascension process, the awakening process is continuous. We don't reach an end point. So allow the ego to soften through this experience of spiritual awakening, because sometimes there's a belief that we know all there is to know. It is continuously shifting. Allow ourselves to be soft in this knowing for the benefit of all.